some good information is shared, and hopefully to answer any questions that you all might have about our program and what we can do to help your students out. My name is Aaron Randolph. I'm Executive Director for Curriculum Instruction for the Cabot School District. I also have the great joy of working with our advanced students, our advanced staff, and joining us also is Mrs. Melissa Elliott. She's our GT coordinator, works very closely with our secondary students and families. And we also have Mrs. Tracy Chudy, who is our GT specialist working with 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. And she's also our AP coordinator. So she works with students, staff in the AP program at the high school and at ACE. And so we're going to go over a lot of different things this evening. And so thankful you all could join us. This is becoming second nature to do these digital meetings. And I'm ready for us to get back to having everybody in one spot. So hopefully this will be a temporary piece that we continue to work through. Hopefully everybody can see my screen. We've got a presentation that we are sharing with you. And you can see on that screen, there's a link there that goes to the website for the Cabot School District, specifically for the gifted and AP programs. And so a lot of the information we're going to be sharing tonight, you can find there. You can find all of our contact information, and you can get a lot more pieces of information and details there. We are also going to make sure that tonight we talk a little bit more, because I know we've got students and families from all different grade levels that we're talking to tonight. We're going to talk about the transition in our own district from pre-AP over to an honors program. We'll talk specifically about those honors courses. We will look at AP or advanced placement courses in the program that we have in our district. Look at those courses, talk about AP exams. We're going to talk about why would a student want to be enrolled in AP. And if you're like me, and I see some faces I know that have a 6th grader that's going into 7th grade, this will be the first time as a parent that I'm going to be going through this. I've dealt with this as a professional, both as a teacher and administrator. Now I get to walk through this as a parent and see it through that lens. And so hopefully we could talk a little bit more about what that looks like from 7th grade all the way up to your senior year. And Mrs. Elliott and Mrs. Chudy can help you later on if you have any specific questions about what's next. What do we do after our students get out of Cabot School District? And at the end, we will have time to make sure that all questions and answers are covered as best we can. And so anybody that's using a cell phone or has a cell phone available to you, we do have a link for this presentation. So if you want to get your phone out, you can take a picture of this QR code and it'll open up in any browser. So you can peruse this later on if you want to. You can also, those of you using your device, there's various ways to use the QR codes, but the simplest way for me is always to get my cell phone out and just take a picture. So I'm going to leave that up for a moment. Anybody that wants to have this later on, it is also on the website or will be posted here in the next day or two. So don't stress if you don't get a picture of it now, it'll be posted on the website later on. But just in case you want to get that now, I'll pause for a moment. All right. And then I also want to make sure that you have the opportunity. I have the chat turned off on this Zoom. It's just a little bit easier for us to kind of manage things without the chat being turned on. And also I know we have people that are using their cell phones, so it's a little bit hard to type in chat on Zoom. This QR code will actually get you to a Google form. And so what we're going to do is any questions that you have as we're moving along, just put them in that Google form and we will get to them. We will actually have a couple times that we'll stop on this presentation and address any questions that we can handle on the spot. But you also may ask something that's very specific to your student. And so what we'll do is Mrs. Chudy, Mrs. Elliott, or myself, we'll follow up with you in the next few days and we could talk personally about your situation, or if it's something that we may not that may not apply to everyone, we want to make sure we will get back with you, but give you the opportunity to have any questions you have answered. So again, if you'll just take a picture of this QR code, get your device out, and that'll allow you any questions that you may have. And our contact information is on this presentation as well. So you can always email us, call us. But this is just a quick way for us to catch up and touch base with each other as we're moving forward. I know some of you are thinking, why is this man throwing all these QR codes at me? I don't ever do this thing. What is he doing? But just we're trying to make the most of being distanced from one another as we do this. All right. Well, without further ado, we will just go ahead and jump into it and talk specifically about honors courses. And I will tell you, for those of you that have been in the district for a number of years or have been in Arkansas for a number of years, there's a significant shift that you're going to see this coming fall in the Cabot School District and probably in a lot of places in Arkansas. But we have offered pre-AP or pre-advanced placement courses in the Cabot School District since the 1990s. I think we actually offered some of them in the late 80s, but definitely since the mid 90s, we have offered pre-AP classes from 7th grade on. These courses are courses that our staff developed. We took what was already being taught in 7th grade, be it in 7th grade English or math or history, whatever it may be. And we worked to adapt what was being taught so that we could better prepare students for what was ahead. So how do we get them ready for a more accelerated 8th grade course or a 9th grade course, or eventually for an AP or a college level course in high school? And honestly, how do we get these students even more prepared for what comes after high school? And so we had a pathway, the pre-AP pathway that you could enroll in and start in 7th grade. And we had courses offered in all kinds of different subject areas and grades from 7th grade all the way up to the senior year of high school. College Board is a nonprofit organization, and we'll talk a little bit more about them later on with AP courses. But what they wanted to do is that they wanted to create, and we're kind of tasked with creating set pre-AP curriculum. So anybody that's had a student go through the Freshman Academy the past 3 years, your son or daughter may have taken a course pre-AP English 1 or pre-AP Algebra at Freshman Academy. And those were actually two of the courses that were created by College Board that had a set curriculum, set pacing guides, and they were set in place and created by that group to help students get prepared for AP success. But they were not Cabot created. They were not specific to Arkansas. It was specific to the College Board and what they put in place. And we had good experience with those courses. But we, it came down to it this fall, we were all kind of called and said, based on College Board's guidelines, that our options were to use the pre-AP tag, to use the pre-AP label, that we would have to utilize these College Board courses. Okay, which again, we utilized English and math and had good success with them at Freshman Academy. But when we looked at the courses that were being offered by College Board, they actually did not have the same courses that we offer starting in 7th grade. In fact, the first courses that they offer would be in 8th grade, and most of the courses were 9th and 10th grade. So it really didn't meet the needs for our academically advanced students in 7th grade and 8th grade in Cabot. And we know that we have students that, hey, they love English, they love math, they need something beyond what's going on in the general ed classroom. And utilizing the College Board courses, we wouldn't really be able to do that for our junior high students. And so what we decided as a program, as a district, we had done some reviews and obviously had 3 years experience with those pre-AP courses. We decided that what was in the best interest for our program and our students was that we would continue to utilize the Cabot created extensions and the Cabot created materials that had been so successful in getting our students ready for high school and AP and college, and that we would no longer use that term pre-AP, but instead would use the term honors. And so when you hear the term honors courses in Cabot now, just think this is pre-AP or what pre-AP used to be in Cabot. And so sometimes we have those changes in terminology. It can be a little bit concerning or make people a little bit nervous. But what I want to say is what the students had last year in 7th grade algebra at Cabot Junior High North, this coming fall, they will have as honors algebra at Junior High North. Nothing changes, the same staff members, the same extensions, and the same prep work that we're going to give them to be ready for what's next in their future. And so just a little bit of background on how that transition took place. We've been working on that for about 3 years and then really pulled the trigger this last fall and been working with our staff members and trying to communicate as best we could on what that transition would look like. Now, to dive into what those honors courses are, for those of you that have not been involved with our program in the past and so don't know what I'm talking about, what we're talking about is differentiated courses for advanced students. I mentioned before, maybe you have a son or daughter that loves math, so they might have the opportunity to take honors math at 7th grade at junior high north or south. These courses are going to prepare students for the rigors of AP or advanced placement coursework. And again, I mentioned earlier, AP is college level coursework at the high school. And what we want to do is to make sure that what we're doing for our students in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade prepares them to take college level courses before they leave this school district. So it's going to be a little bit more advanced. It's going to ask a little bit more of our students, and it's going to challenge them more so than what they would be challenged in general ed class. And we're also really laying the foundation, even in 7th grade, doing advanced vocabulary, doing advanced problem solving and critical thinking so that they're ready to take a college level exam by the time they get to their 10th grade year of high school. And so we're laying the foundation starting in 7th grade to do that. And these courses are also going to prepare students for college scholarship opportunities. A lot of times students are asked, what advanced coursework did you take? What kind of classes did you take while you were in school? Well, our students that enroll in this program could say, I took honors courses while I was in junior high, while I was at freshman academy in high school. And so they can talk about how what they were doing was a little bit more than what was being asked of their classmates. And then more importantly for us, these courses are going to better prepare our students to graduate from college. And we'll talk a little bit later about a 4-year and a 5-year graduation rate from post-secondary institutions. And so what we want to do is to give our kids the foundation they need to be successful later on. We will offer 23 honors courses, and I could go through every one of these, but I'm not just going to read the slides. What you could see is at 7th grade, English, 7th grade math, both subject areas, you could take those honors courses all the way leading up into the high school. And especially for those 6th grade parents that are on this, one of the things you all may have gotten a letter in the past few weeks that says your child was recommended for honors courses. There's no requirement that a recommendation was made for a student to take an honors course. What we want to do is to make sure that those students, that the teachers and the test data said, this student needs something else. We really feel like they need something. They got that notification. But if a student didn't get a letter, or let's say a student got a letter in math that says, man, I really love science, I want to push something harder in that science course, absolutely. You register for those honors courses and we'd be excited to have you. And Mrs. Schutte will work with you and make sure that your student is successful. And so as you can see there, we start in 7th grade with honors science. We move all the way up into honors biology, which is leads into the AP biology course, and chemistry at the high school as well. And then you can see on the social studies side, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, and then at 10th grade, students that are in that pathway, they can actually move on to take AP US history, which is a college level course. And then we also offer honors Spanish 2 and 3, and honors French 2 and 3. So even those students that want to participate in foreign language, when they get to the high school, they'll have the opportunity to take advanced foreign language courses if they so choose. So again, honors starts in 7th grade, laying the foundation, getting students prepared for AP or advanced placement courses. And these courses actually came about as a cooperative endeavor between secondary schools and colleges. Years ago, there was a group of college professors on the East Coast that got together and they said, man, we've got students that really need some better foundation. They're coming to our courses. They're not quite ready. What can we do to get them more prepared? At the same time, you had high school teachers who were going, man, we've got these kids that they're outrageous. We've got to do something to challenge them more so we can get them better prepared for college. The College Board was kind of collectively came about at the same time. And you may know the College Board is the agency that puts on the SAT, but they kind of helped foster this discussion between higher ed and secondary schools and said, let's develop courses that can better challenge those students. These courses are committed to educational excellence and also equality. That is, they're open to everybody. So we'll talk about that. If your son or daughter wants to be challenged, let's go. Let's get them in these courses and let's help them work. And currently there are 39 courses offered by College Board in 26 different subject areas. And this is, you can go to collegeboard.org if you want to study more about it. You can learn all kinds of new things and neat things. But they offer, again, almost 40 courses that students can earn college credit for those courses while they're still at high school. This coming fall, we will offer 20 AP courses at Cabot High School. And if your son or daughter will be enrolled at Cabot Panther Academy or ACE, we offer some AP courses there as well, but students can also travel back and forth to the high school. So if there's a specific question about that, please let us know and we can help you when it comes time to registration. But you can see the courses that we offer at Cabot High School and will offer in terms of AP opportunities. And again, I want to make sure everybody sees this because Mrs. Elliott, Mrs. Schutte, and I have been doing this for a while. And one of the things that we always get asked is, does a child have to take AP or pre-AP or honors courses in all subject areas? And the answer to that is no. No, they don't. And I always use myself as an example. I'm a liberal arts guy. History is my background. I love foreign languages. History, was good at writing and English. Math, not so much. Doesn't mean I didn't like, or I shouldn't say didn't like, didn't mean I wasn't successful at math, but math was just not what I wanted to spend my time doing. And so in terms of AP, I never took an advanced or AP math class. Wasn't what I wanted to do, wasn't want to spend my free time. Mrs. Elliott, on the other hand, is a math guru. She loves math. And so she would sign up for AP calculus, AP statistics, any of those things. But, you know, it's okay. And I think sometimes you all as parents, as guardians, need to make sure your students hear that they don't have to do all the courses. You know, if they want to, do we encourage them? Absolutely. But it's okay to find their passions, find their interest, and let them pursue that. And that's the great thing about this program. There's some other programs out there that once a student enrolls in them, they may require you have to take all 4 subject areas. You have to do these things. And that's not the way our program is set up. And that's not the way College Board has designed these courses. One great thing that I did want to bring up that we will continue to offer, actually, this is new this year, was our first year, but AP Calculus BC, that is, it's a second year of AP Calculus, college level calculus for students. Again, I think math is magic, and I don't understand why students want to take those advanced math classes, but those students that want to go into engineering, they want to go into physics, things like that, absolutely. We've got another opportunity for them to do so. So very excited we were able to open that up here this year. So again, why would a student want to take an advanced class other than they like working hard, which, hey, I'm all for it. Let's let them work hard. It's also important to know when students get to the high school and they take AP courses, they can actually earn weighted credit for participating in these courses. So when you think about, and especially those of you that are now moving into the secondary world as 6th grade parents, your child will bring home a report card. And you start thinking about GPA in 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade. And so on a regular GPA, an A is worth 4 points, a B is worth 3 points, a C is worth 2 points, a D is worth 1 point. And for those of you who will never get an F is not worth any points. And so when you start thinking about a GPA, you take that number of points per course, you add that up, and then you divide by 6, you divide by 7, however many courses that you're enrolled in, and that gives you your GPA. And that GPA will follow your student. In junior high, 7th grade, 8th grade, those courses, unless they take a course for high school credit, and we could talk more about that later on, it's really just a trial year. Junior high is more of a trial. Let's see how this works. How does this go? When you get to 9th grade, all those courses count on your high school transcript. And so you start thinking about the GPA, those numbers will go with you. So when you're thinking about applying for college, when you're thinking about where you fall in the rankings at the end of high school, 9th grade, these start counting. Again, some at junior high, but very specific. And we could talk more about that later on. Whereas if you take an AP course, and there's a few other courses the high school offers, but all are advanced placement courses, and you take it for the whole year, and you take the AP exam at the end of the year, you will get a weighted credit for those courses. So that US history, AP US history course that you took, and you get an A in it, that counts as 5 points. So when you start thinking about helping your GPA as you move forward and having some conversations about rankings or where, how I can get the scholarships or applying for National Honor Society, any of these pieces, those weighted courses are going to help you out in the long run. And so just something that's one of the benefits that the state of Arkansas saw years ago. And actually, we started weighting AP credits in Arkansas in the mid-90s. In 2004, if I'm remembering my dates correctly, it actually came into law that schools had to have so many AP classes available, had to have so many advanced classes available. And it was also set in code that there was a lot of rules involved with weighting credit, and you have to meet certain parameters by the state of Arkansas. Thankfully, AP, all of those meet those parameters set by the state of Arkansas. So we talked about AP courses. One thing that's a little nerve-wracking, and again, talking to my 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade friends, you got some time to think about this. But part of getting credit for that AP course is that you will sit and take an exam at the end of the year. Usually in the first, second, third weeks of May, students will sit and take a cumulative exam that will cover everything that was covered that year in that course. Most colleges and universities are going to potentially grant college credit for a qualifying AP exam grade. And so one of the great things about this is that this is a college level exam. You're taking as a junior, sophomore, wherever it may be, really a tough college course and tough college exam. This will help you stand out in the admissions process. It can, especially if you start earning college credit, it will help you save money in college tuition. And so that's one of the things that we always stress to our students is, again, you're going to get that weighted credit. It's going to help you out in the long term. It's going to make you stand out when you fill out that application. Potentially, when you get to college, you can start looking at graduating early, adding a minor, adding another bachelor's, whatever it may be. There's a lot of opportunity for you. And, especially, and I know you all, the 6th, 7th, 8th grade students, you think about college is a long ways away. And I can tell you again, having a 6th grade student, the last thing that I'm talking to my daughter about, other than these fantasies she has about becoming a marine biologist somewhere in the Caribbean, are trying to get her to understand what it actually looks like when you go to college. But explaining to them, when you start on this process at 7th grade and you continue along with it, you may not realize it now, but it will pay dividends out by the time you get to be an undergraduate. Maybe you don't want your son or daughter to go to college. Maybe they don't. They want to go to the workforce. They want to go into the military. By all means, if they've had a tougher, more diligent education and they've had to work more while they were in school, they're going to be better prepared for that too. So just take college out of that if that's not what your child wants to do. Also, taking an AP course really helps students to build critical thinking skills, to build confidence, to help time management. And I will tell you, one of the things that I always mention to families is having grown up, and I did grow up here in Cabot. I went through this program. One of the reasons why I came back and worked in Cabot was that I was so thankful for this program and I wanted to see it grow. I wanted to see students thrive in it. But I learned so much how to manage my time to be able to balance being in advanced courses, being in athletics, taking part in extracurricular activities, going to church, whatever it may be. You learned how to do that having a part-time job. And so by the time I got out of high school, I could tell you, I went to my freshman year at the University of Arkansas and I started going, what am I going to do with all this free time? Because I was so used to having everything organized and cataloged, it was eye-opening to me. And I could tell the difference when I started talking to friends in that freshman year that they didn't have the same educational background I did, and they were struggling with that coursework. And so I'm really thankful for what I had behind me. Also, we can see that students who take that exam and they're given a score 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Typically 3s, 4s, and 5s earn students college credit. Students that score a 3 or higher on an AP exam typically have a higher GPA in college and higher grade point averages than their non-AP peers. And so I'm so thankful that Arkansas really put so much emphasis into this. Whoops, wrong direction, my apologies. There's a great thing that I don't have on the slide, but I want to make sure everybody hears this too. I mentioned in 2004 that the state changed the law, really emphasizing advanced placement, advanced coursework for students. They did one other wonderful thing. An AP exam costs right now about $95 per exam. And so this was something years ago that parents had to pay out of pocket. Depending on the situation, depending on the state, that still occurs. People have to pay to take those exams. In Arkansas, the state of Arkansas, as part of that law, put funds into the budget to cover the cost for any student in the state of Arkansas that took an AP course in a public school and wanted to sit and take that exam. They do not have to pay a cent for that exam. There's no exam fee so long as they've done what they're supposed to do. And this is fantastic because you think about potentially earning 9, 12, 15 hours of college credit without having to pay anything for that. And so that's just a wonderful opportunity. So I just want to bring that up again to say, when you're thinking about AP exams down the road, not only do we have a wonderful opportunity, but we can see the state truly supports those pieces for their students. All right, credit and placement opportunities. This website, I would encourage you all, especially those of you with high schoolers, if you want to see specifically what courses will count for college credit at those respective universities, you can go to collegeboard.org/AP credit policy, and this is also linked on our website. Each university has the ability to set their own guidelines. In the state of Arkansas, there are actually set courses that every public school in the state will honor these courses. And so that's one of the great things. Again, that was a law that was passed a few years back, and rules regs from higher ed have followed through with that. So Arkansas, Texas, a few other states, they have some common policies about what courses would count in public schools. All right, I've spoken enough for a little while, and so I want to take a moment and we're going to check the questions out. And so bear with me, and I'm going to stop the share and we're going to check over to look at our Google form to see if anybody has posted any questions. Okay, well, at this time, there's no questions, which either means that I've answered everything perfectly, or we're still pondering how things will go. And so what I'm going to do real quick, just to make sure everybody has this, I'm going to go back and just say, if you have any questions, I want to make sure that we give you the opportunity to have any of those questions answered. And so again, if you have questions, please go to this Google form. I would encourage you and write anything down and ask away. Mrs. Elliott, Mrs. Schutte, and I are waiting patiently. Well, with a little bit of patience. We're so excited to answer questions. So if you don't have any questions, that's okay too. But we'll hold that up for a few minutes before we move on. And Mrs. Schutte, Mrs. Elliott, if you see anything in that Google form come through, just wave at me or text me, and we can stop and take a look at any of those. All right. So go back. There we go. We're talking about honors courses. We've talked about AP courses. We've talked about AP exams, potentially earning college credit with those exams. And I love this quote. Dave Barry, and some of you may be familiar with his work. I don't know that he's writing anymore, but he was a longtime humorist from Southern Florida, had a TV show years ago. But I love this quote that, I believe that we parents must encourage our children to become educated so they can get to a good college that we cannot afford. And it's a funny take on having our students pursue college education. It's not as funny now as costs continue to rise. And I don't know about you all, but as we start thinking about our own kids moving that direction, I don't foresee higher education getting any cheaper. And so it is a very serious thing to think about. But again, that's somewhat where we are. And so you want to think about sometimes, what is it going to cost, for my child to go to college? And there are tons of calculators that you can find online, and you can put in there. Every university says you can estimate tuition and you can put these different things in. It's kind of nervous for me, again, with a rising seventh grader, to think about where I'm going to be 5 years from now versus where we are now. But if you've got students that are in that age bracket, I would encourage you to do some research into that. Talk to Mrs. Elliott. She can help you along that way too, to find more opportunities for scholarships and everything else. But I think we can all agree that no matter where you are in life, a student going to college is going to cost money. We hope that everybody gets full ride scholarships, but we know that that's not always the case. And so one of the things I wanted to point out in terms of students taking honors, moving into AP courses and looking at college success, this is a chart that was put out a couple of years ago looking at students that took AP exams while in high school and where they fell in terms of their graduation rate. So did they graduate in 4 years? And so you can see the expected graduation rate, and you can look down the breaks it down by demographics there on the right, that those students that took AP exams had a statistically higher chance of graduating in 4 years than those students that didn't take AP exams. And part of that, like I talked about, was preparation, that they had some college credits that maybe they knocked it out. But again, one of the cool things about this is this doesn't say they were successful on those AP exams. This is just that they took an AP exam. So not only did they potentially have college credit, but also they were used to working hard. They were used to being challenged academically. So stepping into a college classroom was not as big of a shift for them as it might be for some other students. And also, if you look at 5-year graduation rate, and this is another piece put out in 2006 for the National Education Accountability Association, but what you can see is that all of these students, regardless of the demographic, had a much higher chance of graduating in 5 years or less than those that did not participate in AP. Again, not saying they were successful on the AP exam, but that they took the courses, they participated in the exam. And so I always think that's a powerful thing to think about. And I bring up, and I know people will laugh at me, including my friend, Mrs. Elliott, but I'm a history guy. That's my background. My bachelor's is in classical studies, ancient history and language. I took the AP US history exam as a junior in high school. I was not successful on the AP US history exam. My AP US history teacher, who still teaches at Cabot High School, would say that that's because I didn't put enough effort into it. But regardless, I was prepared to take any history course that I could find at the U of A because of what I had done as a student at the Cabot High School. So this is our suggested course sequence for those students that want to participate in honors courses and eventually want to move into AP. And so this is something, again, we have copies of this wherever you need it. But just so you all can see, for students coming into 7th grade, you could take that honors science, honors language arts, honors math, and honors social studies. And then you move in 8th grade and all the way down. And so we have, as you can see, 5 years worth of courses for every one of these subject areas. You move over to foreign language in the second to the last column on the right, and you can see that we offer courses starting in 9th grade in foreign language. And we have a pathway for those students that are academically advanced or definitely want to be challenged. We've got opportunities. Once you get to Cabot High School, we also offer GT Seminar 1 and 2. Those are electives meant to support students that are in those AP or pre-AP, honors courses. And also for those students that want to get better prepared for some of those high stakes exams that come along with being an advanced student. So there's a lot of neat things that we can do there. And then you can see also AP Art History, Studio Art, and Music Theory. So we know one of the great things about being in Cabot is we have a fantastic band program. And so we have a tremendous amount of students that participate in band. And those students, sometimes they would get to the high school and think, well, I really like band, but there's only so many band classes I can take and fit it in my schedule. Well, we were able to work out. So we have AP Music Theory. Students can get college credit for doing advanced work that goes hand in hand with being in the band. We also know that we have a great amount of students that love art. They want to draw, they want to create new things. Well, we have a wonderful program at the high school, and Mrs. Helen Goodman teaches 2 different courses on AP Studio Art. And so again, we know we have those students. Maybe math's not their thing. That's okay. You could still have the potential to be an advanced student in the subject area that you love. So again, these are things, I do want to point out one piece before we move any further on this. And again, as 6th graders riding into 7th grade, you'll have these conversations if you take honors courses next year with Mrs. Schutte, and she will work with you. Mrs. Elliott has conversations every year with high school students. So if you ever have any follow-up questions on this, let us know. But that honors mathematics, this is the one piece that I will share with anyone. If you think that you have a desire to eventually move into any of these advanced math classes, you need to enroll in honors mathematics as a 7th grade student. And the reason for this is we compact all those courses. And so an honors math student in 7th grade actually gets all those 7th grade math standards and almost all the 8th grade math standards in 1 year. And so as we compact those courses together, you're talking about 2 years in one. And the reason we do this is because that following year, students take honors algebra. And that is a high school credit course. And so students can actually start earning high school credit while they are in 8th grade. And the reason I bring this up is to say that that goes on your transcript. That's something that will impact you when you start thinking about graduation. But we do that so that we can then provide down the road AP calculus, because we know we have students that math is their thing and they want to rock and roll. We've got a pathway, but the only way we can do that safely is to make sure that we're covering all those standards in 7th grade, so that then when you get to 8th grade, it's algebra, 9th grade geometry, so on and so forth. And so again, if you're having that conversation as a family, not sure about what to sign up for, and you have any questions, let us know. But math is one of those things. If you think your student may want to go into advanced math at some point, they really need to take honors math at 7th grade. One of the cool things that we offer in Cabot that is not offered in a lot of places in our state, it's not required by law. Gifted services are required by law. But what we also, on top of offering honors courses starting in 7th grade, we are able to have someone in Mrs. Schutte who works with our 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade students and families to talk about how they're doing. Because sometimes we know that academically advanced students, or students that are enrolled in a lot of challenging courses, they may have some different needs than others in their grade level. We know that their stresses may be a little bit different. We know sometimes they might be feeling overwhelmed. And so Mrs. Schutte is there. She works with our students at least once a month. Those students are pulled out to work with her, and she gives them some lessons, works with them. She's sort of a counselor of sorts, that not only is she teaching, but she's also that advocate for them. She's there to answer any questions they may have about the future. And you as parents, if you're not sure about what's going on or how to approach things, she's an advocate for you. So thankful to have her in the district for supporting that position, because we know that, our students have extra needs and we want to provide them. And so anything you could see there that Mrs. Schutte is doing on a monthly basis with students and pool students and small groups as well. But that's just a little bit of what we provide to our students starting in 7th grade. As students move into the high school, we also have another opportunity on top of having GT seminar electives that they can enroll in. We do have the AP Academy. This is a one-of-a-kind piece in our state. And this is a sort of I would say an honor society of type, but it is an honor society for those students that are enrolled in honors and AP classes. And this is an organization that Mrs. Elliott leads. And what she does is really works with students on fine-tuning all those things they need to be prepared for college and to be competitive for what's next. They also, again, that social and emotional support is there, an emphasis on community service. So there's a lot of things that she's going to work with her students, and she meets monthly with those groups to talk to them, to encourage them. And yes, periodically they do get pizza when they meet with her, and so they like to do that. But it's just an opportunity for them to, not only feel connected with other students, like-minded and likability, but also to know that they have yet another adult that loves them and wants to care for them and wants to help them. And I don't know about you all as parents, but I feel like more and more my child doesn't want to listen to me when I'm trying to encourage her or coach her. So I like the fact that I have people like Mrs. Schutte, Mrs. Elliott. They're going to be there for them, and they're going to say the same thing I would say to them, but she will listen to them and not me. So just some of the great things that we can offer there. And again, some of the opportunities with student services. One of the great things we do is as students are getting ready for high stakes exams, high stakes scholarships, for applications for fellowships, going into some universities that may have interviews. We do mock interviews with students. Mrs. Elliott does a lot of work on application essays, how to approach things. So it's been wonderful for us, and we've had a lot of good feedback and success stories from our students that have been a part of that. And you can see there in the all this information about AP Academy, including applications, and students start completing applications to be a part of the AP Academy their 9th grade year. All this information is available on our website, but we do require students have at least a 3.5 to be a part of this, that they are completing the honors graduation requirements. They have to take at least 8 honors and or AP classes to get that credit. And then they also have to have at least 3 of those 8 courses have to be the AP level. And so you can see there there that a community service project approved by and overseen by Mrs. Elliott, along with they have to have 5 hours specific to AP Academy community service per year. And we have this in place that specific to AP Academy because some of you, if you've had students go through the high school, you'll know there's going to be different clubs that have community service opportunities. If you're all there in church and you have community service, there's all these different things to give back, which is fantastic. And we want people to participate in as much as they can. But we also have the community service projects that our AP Academy uses are created by AP Academy students. And it's a culmination. It's a senior project that they're working on. And we want to make sure that all our students are supporting their peers in meeting those requirements and getting those projects completed. So that's why Mrs. Elliott works with our students to make sure they're all moving the right direction to that. All right. So again, if you have any questions, please take a picture, put them on the Google form, and we will follow up with you. But we're going to check again. Mrs. Schutte, Mrs. Elliott, this is the end of my presentation. So do we have any questions that we need to cover before we finish up this evening?
Can we just ask a question here in the forum?
Well, you can. I was trying to be as careful as I can because this is being recorded. So I wanted to honor your privacy as much as possible, sir.
I have no reason not to ask this question. I mean, I'm sure it's something that everybody is wondering about.
Sure.
You mentioned taking exams. Actually, I have a couple of questions, but you mentioned taking exams at the end of the course of the AP course, and you didn't pass one course. So my question is for you: what happens to the student that may not be that great exam taker, takes the exam, does great in the course, but takes the exam and doesn't pass? I mean, is this a one-time deal? I mean, where they can take the AP exam and then that's it? They don't get a second chance or maybe even a third chance? Or are they allowed to, do they have that opportunity to maybe go back and take another class or another exam, excuse me?
Sure. No, great question. And so one thing I would add with that AP exam, the AP exam does not have any impact on the student earning high school credit or the high school grade. So that is one thing that I should have mentioned. But in regards to the ability to retake an exam, we have had maybe 1 or 2 students that I could think of off the top of my head that have retaken an AP exam within the next year or two that wanted to try to earn that college credit, and they can do so, and we will work with them to facilitate that request. The one thing about it is that they no longer fall under that state covered fee for an exam. And so the students that we've had do it, they have paid that exam fee so that they could take it again the next year or 2 years down the road, whatever it may be. But they do have that opportunity to do so.
Right, which leads me into my next question, which is what is the cost for an AP exam?
Sure. I think we're in Mrs. Schutte, it's about $96. It's gone up, forgive me. It goes up every couple of years. And so I think we're at about $96, $97 per exam right now.
Okay. I'll just continue on if nobody else has a question. I have twin daughters. Both are what I consider good, excellent students. But one is very driven to take the courses. One is not so hot. She just doesn't. She's not motivated. I'll put it to that way. As they progress through the grades, and both my daughters are in 7th grade now. Will we see something from the teachers, or will the teacher maybe where one of my children is taking the normal classes and not taking the honors classes, will the teachers actually go in there as they're in there, watching the children, maybe make that recommendation to the parents? Hey, you might consider, talking to your student, asking them if they would be interested in taking the AP or the honors class, instead of taking just the normal class, where this might motivate the student, maybe not this year but maybe next year, and give them that experience to learn how to compartmentalize their courses and their time and stuff like that.
So I know, so conversations do take place at middle school, and we do have some at junior high as well. And I know the counselors meet with students every year, especially in the spring or early spring, and they have those conversations when they're talking about grades, when they're talking about where they are, and they do encourage. And some teachers are more proactive than others about that encouragement. But we have some pieces at middle school, and I will tell you, even at junior high, we will have students that maybe didn't feel good about it and didn't get in an honors course, and formerly pre-AP, but now honors course, as a seventh grader, that will switch them. They move into honors at semester, because they've had conversations with their teachers, and the teachers recognize, hey, let's give you a little bit more. And so they do that as well, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your questions. And I saw we did have a couple of questions come in on the form. And so I do want to make sure that we're covering those. And one question about, do you get college credit for taking an AP class? That is, you have to take the class, and you have to earn the credit on the exam. So you have to have both of those pieces. And some universities may have a different view where you only have to take the exam. But for college credit, our recommendation is that you take the entire year, but definitely you have to have that exam. And I could say from firsthand experience, just having an A in an AP course without an exam, most universities would not see that as being consistent, because they might feel that an AP course in Cabot may be different than an AP course if it's in Jackson, Mississippi. And so what they want to do is to have one test that the students in Arkansas and the students in Mississippi take that they can then compare. And so that's why for college credit, it does depend upon that AP exam. And then I had a question come in about GT Seminar on what that includes. And Mrs. Elliott, do you want to share a little bit about GT Seminar at the high school? I'm going to put you on the spot. You're still muted, Mrs. Elliott. Let's see.
Ooh, clicked it. There we go. Can you hear me? Great. Absolutely. With GT Seminar at the high school level, we spend obviously the time that we take at the junior high level with meeting students' social emotional needs, helping them with schedules, anything with pre-AP courses, issues that they're having there. But then another focus that we really spend a lot of time on are those high stake exams. The PSAT, which this year will be held on October the 13th, which is it's always a Wednesday in October, mid-October, and this year it'll be October 13th. And that's where students that wish to take the PSAT, they sign up in the counseling center here at Cabot High School. And 10th grade, we encourage all sophomores and high ability sophomores and all high ability juniors for sure to take that PSAT. The PSAT is the National Merit Qualifying Exam. So we spend a lot of time with test prep for that exam. If students perform well enough their 10th grade year, that gives us content and gives us feedback from that assessment to then work with them the following year in GT Seminar 2 to really focus on areas that they need in order to hopefully score high enough their 11th grade year in order to qualify as national merit. So we spend an inordinate amount of time in GT Seminar working on high stakes test prep. We also test prep for the ACT. And then we also work with students on college readiness, helping them determine what college they're interested in, what colleges, making a list, how do you discern which colleges would be best for you, the best fit for you, as well as what major you might be interested in. And then we also have a career focus component to GT Seminar. So it's a plethora of content that we cover, but our goal is to make sure that they are prepared for those high stake exams in GT Seminar. Highly encourage high ability sophomores and juniors to work GT Seminar into their schedule. And if we need to be creative about doing that, I will be glad to work with students and with parents to find a way. If you have an active child who maybe is interested in forensics and band, and it's just not certain how to fit everything into a schedule, we can work with some creative ways to make that work.
Thank you, Mrs. Elliott.
Mm-hmm.
Had a question about an accelerated math pathway, and I didn't touch upon this. Forgive me for that. But we do have, talking about our honors courses, we do have a very small cadre of students that we work with our middle school teams to identify and to have conversations with about potentially taking accelerated algebra starting in 7th grade. And this is a very, very formal process of acceleration that we are very careful about. And we will not start that recommendation process until after the third 9 weeks, because we really want to see how students have performed really over several years, but definitely want to see that last kind of push of 6th grade. And for students that are recommended to be considered for that pathway, we actually pull them. We invite families to come in and visit with us. We have a meeting about it. They are screened with an assessment to determine where they stand on their mathematical ability, readiness for algebra. We have another conversation. We have a committee that reviews all that data. And then those students are given the opportunity to enroll in algebra as 7th graders. And then the reason I say that we are so cautious is, it's a high school course that we're offering to 12-year-olds. And for some students, it's not a problem. They can rock and roll and no problem. But sometimes maturity plays a big piece. And so we don't want to put students in a situation where they ultimately aren't successful because we push them too hard and too fast. And especially as you look at the honors course sequencing that we put together, you can see that students just being in honors math are already going to be 1 year accelerated as 8th graders, because they're taking algebra while their classmates are taking 8th grade math. And then when they're in geometry, their grade level peers are in algebra. And so we're very cautious about that. But just wanted to make sure I addressed that question. That is something that letters go out after the third 9 weeks, sometime after spring break, we'll start that process. And we currently have actually this is the 3rd year we've done that. So we have students right now that are at Freshman Academy that are taking Algebra 2. And those students were actually having conversations about taking pre-calculus next year and looking at what, how many math classes they're going to take as juniors and seniors. And so again, math's not my thing, but for those students, we want to encourage them and support them as we can. They have another question come in about AP Music Theory. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put you in touch with our AP Music Theory teacher, because he could do a much better job of explaining his syllabus and what he goes into. And music is his thing. He's one of the band directors, so he can help out with that. But I'll make sure that he reaches out to you in the next couple of days. Next question was, would I recommend students taking all 4 honors classes at 7th grade? And it's kind of a difficult question to answer on the spot. But what I would say is, if your student wants to be challenged, then yes. And if your student wants that opportunity, then go for it. And it is much easier to start in those courses and take a step back, so they can drop classes at semester, they can move the schedule around, they can do that. It is a lot easier for them to take a step back than it is to try to step up, if that makes sense. And so that's, as you're having conversations with your kids, just like my wife and I had with our daughter, if they want that, let them do it. And that would be my encouragement. But by no means would I make my child do it if they didn't want to, because they're 12 and they're going to let me know if I'm making them do something they shouldn't be doing or don't want to do. Question on advanced courses for engineering or robotics or computer. There are, and it's not specific to advanced placement, so we don't include it in this presentation, but at the high school, we do offer some advanced courses in digital electronics and other pieces like that. We are looking at adding a robotics course in the next few years as part of the governor's requirement that all students starting in 9th grade next year have to have a computer science course to graduate. So we are looking at some advanced courses. And we did offer AP Computer Science A and AP Computer Science Principles, but due to staffing issues, we're having to remove those courses. We weren't able to continue offering that. Hope to add them back in the next few years, but for next year at least, that would not be an option. But good questions. Question came in about Algebra 2 at Freshman Academy, and yes, that is an honors course. To take that course as a 9th grader would be an honors course. And then the last question, which is always tough about working a full schedule to get GT seminar in the schedule. I'm going to make sure that Mrs. Elliott follows up with you because she can have that discussion. But it's hard. And I know, especially you all that have students in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, there's only so many electives that they can fit in their schedule. And so we have to have a lot of those conversations and make things work and get creative. But Mrs. Elliott, Mrs. Schutte are really good at getting creative on the schedules. And so I'll make sure she follows up with you and we'll see what we can do to help you out. Well, all right. Well, that is it for the questions that were entered. As you can see, this is our contact information. So if you have anything else that pops up that you want to talk about later on, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. I'm very thankful you gave up an hour of your evening to hang out with us. And we will follow up with a few of you on those questions. And I hope you have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.